Welcome to Martha Runs the World, a podcast with a new take on running, fitness, and all things health-oriented. I'm Martha Hughes, your host, and each week I present a new topic that is of interest to all runners. Why, hello! Welcome to episode 148 of Martha Runs the World. I have a great guest today. Louise Valentine is joining me in a minute or two. She's a terrific guest, and I'll give her introduction in a second. I hope you're doing well. Everything is splendid here. I'm walking pretty well. I'm getting at least a mile and a half every day. I'm going to go out for 3 miles tomorrow on my first 5K walk. Since I had my surgery, so I'll tell you how that went. And next week, I'll tell you all about that. And things are going pretty well. I'm not 100% pain-free, but it's better. It's better and better every day. I'm working with my physical therapist, and we're making excellent progress. So I am very, very happy. Very, very good. Now, my guest today. Louise Valentine is a physiologist. She has a lot of credentials. She works very, very hard. She is an Army spouse. I'm very proud of that. She wants to help you succeed in running, in your health. She has a great program called Badass Breakthrough Academy. So without further ado, here is Louise Valentine. Will you welcome to the program Louise Valentine? She's a physiologist, multi-credentialed coach. She's also an Army spouse who wants to help you succeed. Hi, Louise. How are you?
Doing great. Excited to be here.
Yeah, I'm excited to have you too. I really enjoyed everything that you have to offer, and we'll talk about that. But let me start at the beginning. When did you start running, or when did you start valuing fitness?
Oh, goodness. So, I always share that I was so far from high performing as a young athlete. I got cut from the volleyball team, and cross country was the only sport that didn't cut. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to run. And I was not in physical nor mental shape to take on running at that point in life. I struggled with chronic illness, and my doctors told me I was, just not built to be a runner. And I also had performance crushing anxiety. So I showed up last to cross the finish line as a young athlete. But this did motivate me early on in my career to start, exploring human physiology and how to get our body to work with us and not against us. And so I started deep diving into health and fitness and becoming passionate about it from a very young age.
Wow, that is terrific. That might have crushed a lot of young people, but you must have been very curious about things then at early.
Yes, definitely. I remember, hopping on the treadmill in 6th grade and being like, all right, I'm going to eat a lean cuisine and get healthy. And that's of course not the way to get healthy. But back then I was like, I'm going to figure this out. And so I did, I started getting credentials and multiple degrees early on. Mm-hmm. But, as a byproduct of that motivation and determination, I have, now here later in life become a much better runner. I've had many opportunities in my career. So I'm grateful for the struggle because it showed me the way.
Mm-hmm. Right. And when did you start? You said that you started your own fitness program or your own fitness business. When did you decide to do that?
So I actually started working in fitness and health coaching, honestly, in 8th grade. I was working for a company called Curves for Women. And so I actually started way back then. But, throughout high school and getting personal training certifications, and I got a degree in massage therapy, studying physiology in college, I was actually able to start working for the NFL before I finished my undergrad degree. So that was the beginning of my health and performance business back about 18 years now that I started sort of an entrepreneurial journey as a health and performance specialist, if you will.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Wow. Well, what I was looking at is that your Badass Breakthrough Academy. So what does that name mean?
Yeah. So, after working in various, I should share that I'm a military spouse. So we have relocated 9 times.
We'll talk about that in a minute. I was going to ask you about that, but first, let's talk about the academy first, and we'll go into that a little bit.
Yeah. So, with these various positions that I've held in the wellness industry, I have learned different strategies, how to make health and performance efficient, how to maximize our time, energy, and results. So I stepped away from my career in corporate wellness about, I believe, like 8 months ago now. And I started Badass Breakthrough Academy. And it was inspired by the fact that I had personal breakdowns in my own health, getting 2 health diagnoses. But after all of these years of learning these strategies, knowing how to put them together, I was able to reverse the diagnoses that doctors told me there was nothing I could do about, and maximize my performance as a competitive runner throughout the process. So I'm like, I have got to share this approach to maximizing our mind-body performance with others. So I went back to running my own company full-time with Badass Breakthrough Academy. So it is a group coaching program that is a hybrid with a full online course.
It's very frustrating when you go to doctors. I've had personal experience with this. When you don't get the answers you think you need to help you, and they keep telling you that there's either nothing they can do, or you're doing it wrong, or you just have to deal with it. It's just extremely frustrating when you're not finding the right answers.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And basically, I want to save others the time, energy, and money that it took me to figure it all out. So that is my mission, and making these personal breakdowns badass breakthroughs. So whether you're looking to go from good to great as an endurance athlete, or you're burnt out and you want to go to badass, we're going to take these moments in life and we're going to turn them around in a very streamlined, science-based approach, driving high performance efficiencies. So believing that everyone has the capability to be a high performer.
That's really sounds good. A lot of people want to do it, but they don't know how. So they follow someone else, and what someone else does may not be right for them. They need something a little bit more personalized, but they just don't know how to put it together.
Absolutely. It's, I hear so much that finding ways to maximize our performance, to be healthy, to optimize well-being is a journey. And I don't believe that journey has to be complicated. We do overcomplicate it, and there's so much, poor information out there. So if I can help others take a step back, simplify their approach, learn, find, own, and optimize those strategies that work best for them and their specific goals, that's where the magic happens. That's where we can live this vibrant, healthy, and badass life.
Yes, exactly. So what does training smarter mean to you?
Training smarter?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so, looking at, I call it a strategic hustle. So we want to look at how do we do the minimum amount of effort to achieve maximum results. So that's looking at, the training plan. That's looking at our approach to nutrition, all of the different things that we're adding in to gain a cutting edge, but really taking a look at it and being strategic. It's okay to hustle and to want to be a high performer, but we want to do it strategically to optimize our time and energy.
Yeah. You don't want to waste time on things that aren't going to help you in your process.
Yeah. And I guess a specific example with that is, we, especially as runners, we love to follow our training plan. But there's so many signs and symptoms from our body that let us know that attention is needed. So for example, the other day I had a 5K and it was one of my A races and I had been training and I was so excited for the race. And on Tuesday, my toe started acting up after a workout. And had I just continued to train, to follow my training plan as I had written it, and not address the fact that my toe was on fire, I could have just continued to push through and obtain an injury that would result in me not being able to perform on Saturday for the race that, by the way, I'd been training months for. So by training smarter, you take a step back and you say, okay, looking at the rest of the week, are there any ways that I can modify my training plan to respect the fact that my body is saying something isn't right? So doing some soft tissue work, very simple, right? Just do a couple of things to address the muscle that may be causing this pain and modifying your training plan based on the fact that there is a red flag symptom. We want to take proactive and preventive steps so that we can optimize those most important things, which is race day, right?
Right. A lot of times, especially people who aren't newer runners or people who aren't used to it, need to really pay attention to what their body is telling them. And so that takes training.
Absolutely. And that's where, when I have individuals in my academy, I want to work with them one time, but I want to teach them how to be their own expert. And that's where the fact that I have these multiple credentials and experience can come in and really empowering them to be intuitive to their body specific needs. Cause that's where the magic happens, right? No coach, even the best coach in the world, isn't going to know what's happening inside your body to adapt and flex your plan accordingly.
It's true. And you have to, and a training plan has to be adaptable. If you are not feeling well a day, you have to be able to say, well, this day I have 6 miles or 8 miles. Maybe I'm only going to do 3 or 4 miles because I'm not feeling the greatest, and then switch it around with another day where you do your long run.
Absolutely. And so I think that what you're speaking to is so important. Look to our A workouts. What are the tempo run? We need to perform there and we want to perform. So if we're burned out early in the week from, we had a big work project, we lost some hours of sleep. You know what? That easy run that we have scheduled for Monday, let's take a step back. Let's honor the fact our body needs sleep and maybe use some high performance strategies that can help our body catch up and kind of honor the stress that it's in. So that when you hit that tempo run on Thursday, you knock it out of the park. Like there's no question because you're ready.
Yeah. Rest is so important. People don't understand how important rest is. Rest is just as important as your workouts. If you don't get that rest, you're not going to be able to perform.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So do you still run races then?
I do. I'm actually, I keep progressing as a runner. So, once I got diagnosed with, osteoporosis at age 33. So I did take time off from running. But I did slowly come back. And now here I am 4 years later, successfully reversing the disease in addition to running at my best. So I have a marathon coming up here in just a couple weeks, and I'm hoping to PR and run between a 3:10 and a 3:15. So,
good for you. Which one are you doing?
It's Rehoboth Beach.
Oh, so, nice.
Yeah, Delaware.
Nice. So you're in a taper mode right now, then.
So it's actually the first weekend of December. So I'm in like my peak week, right?
Oh, you are. Oh, you got your long run coming up then. Okay. Great.
Yes.
Good. Well, good. I know you're going to rock it then. It's going to be a great one. And this will be nice chilly weather then, which I like for running. So that'll be cool.
Yeah.
It'll be good for you.
It'll be really fun.
Yeah, it will be fun. So what is your favorite distance to run?
Oh, that's a good question. So I do love the half marathon, and it's very special to me because I got this crazy idea when I was pregnant with my kiddos, both of them, that I was going to run a marathon, at least one marathon per week of pregnancy, or I'm sorry, half marathon. So I have run 73 half marathons while pregnant. And it's just special to me because I don't typically race it. I don't even know like a good PR for a half because I haven't raced one in a long time, but just, logging all those miles with my little running buddies in my belly. It's just a very special distance for me.
So how many halves did you wind up doing?
I did 73.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
Yes. So those were while pregnant. And of course,
wow, that's amazing.
Yeah. The one disclaimer I have is that I was training for marathons, around both of my pregnancies. So being a physiologist, I was able to work with my physicians to ensure that it was safe. I also ran very slow. And so, I was not racing half marathons. I was just logging the miles.
Right. Well, they say I've been doing a lot of, because I just had surgery. So I had a lot of downtime. I've been doing a lot of research and reading into Maffetone method, who says that most of your training should be done slower. So it's okay. It's all right. You do training and you're slower, get your heart rate down, and it's okay. It's healthy for you.
Yeah, definitely. And the purpose for the training was just to maintain that baseline fitness, which is ideal, for that lower heart rate.
Yeah.
Getting out there and moving.
Absolutely. That's amazing. 73. That's spectacular. Very good. What is your favorite race memory?
Oh, favorite race memory. So I had never pushed pace previously before I had kids, in distance. So I ran cross country in high school. I ran some marathons for charity prior to having kids. And then after I had my son, my first child, my husband asked, "Why don't you ever run fast?" And I said, I just like going out there and looking at the scenery. I don't need to run fast. This is just my passion. And he was like, "Why don't you try to qualify for the Boston Marathon and call it Boston after baby?" And I was like, I did just run. I don't know how many with my son. I think it was like 32, 34 half marathons while pregnant. He's like, "You got the base. Why not go for it?" I'm like, "Well, that sounds kind of fun." So my favorite memory would be crossing the finish line at the Shamrock Marathon in Virginia Beach, and qualifying for the Boston Marathon after having my first baby.
Well, that's neat. That is congratulations. That's very good.
Yeah.
Very fun. Yeah, that's fun. That's really, really good. You reached a goal. Very good.
Absolutely. And what's so funny about that is the race day conditions were atrocious. Like you looked out our hotel window and the waves were like up to the balcony of the hotel.
Oh gosh.
The wind was just, it was like half the people didn't run the race. Like if I could do it then, I can do anything. I always go back to that race in my head.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Those horrible race days. And I, sometimes you just think back of those horrible race days and you think more fondly of them. I mean, you don't quite remember how bad they were. You do a little bit, but you don't quite keep how horrible it was. You just remember how great it was that you finished,
Absolutely.
Yeah. Now we're going to talk about, now your husband is in the military, and I want to say thank you so much for his service and his dedication and his sacrifice, and your whole family's sacrifice and dedication. I want to thank you so much for that.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. And I know it's a different experience. You moved a lot with that. So you said 9 times, right?
9 times in 11 years.
Yeah. It's difficult. How do you maintain stability within the family doing that?
Oh, we tend to keep it simple as a family. My husband's an ultra runner, so I know for him, as long as he gets out on the trails, as long as he can go out and do crazy things like run up and down the Grand Canyon every once in a while, he's going to be okay. Right. So we know what works for him to find joy. We come together as a family, and just, we keep it simple. You know, we're active outside hiking. I did, coach my son's cross country this season. So we did take on some sports as a family, but we really tend to root ourselves in simplicity in many aspects of life. And I think that's what keeps us together as well as sane.
That's great. And you're passing along the family traditions. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's great. And I know that there's one. I love your blogs too. I read many of them. They were enjoyable to read. And I love the one where you talked about the different experiences that you and your husband have. And I understand everyone has differences and differences of opinion, that, his experiences are very different than yours. And, we all go through differences, right? And, I know that everyone has different levels of pain that they can manage and understand. I think because I've been an ultra runner, I think that helped and have experienced a lot of pain. I think that helped me deal with the pain of my surgery more than it would somebody else. I just had a hip replaced. So, I'm getting back into it. I went out walking yesterday and I took my cane, but I don't think I needed my cane. For the first time, I actually walked 2 miles where I didn't need it. So okay, that felt pretty good. So yeah, I know. In 2 months,
awesome.
In 2 months, I'm going to be running again. And I'm going to go get back in next year. I'm going to get back into ultra running. But the thing is that a lot of people don't have the same experience that I have, so they probably couldn't handle the pain that I can. That's my point, is that everyone has different experiences. I think that your little blog piece just pointed out that everyone's experience is different, and that's why your coaching program is great, because it really helps people who maybe don't have that and maybe need a little bit more guidance to help them find their way in running.
Absolutely, because it is both a mind and body approach.
Yes.
And so, one of the common mistakes I see with athletes across all sports, both working in the NFL, working now with different types of endurance athletes, even, different jujitsu fighters and those who are pushing their body to the limits, having quick, efficient, high performance mindset strategies is such a game changer. So that's where I wrote my book, The Art of Breaking Through, with 5 simple steps to break through any challenge. And I've cut that framework down even more so in my High Performance Academy, because, if we're talking about the body, if we're talking about pushing it to the limits, what is the most simple, efficient, and effective way that we can also address mindset? Because as you just shared, it makes all the difference a lot of times in being able to finish in that DNF or finish.
Exactly. We'll have links to your book and your website and everything on my website when this episode is released. We'll have everything there. Running is as much mental as it is physical. Yes, you have to be fit for it, but you also have to have the mental fortitude and ability to finish a race.
Absolutely. And there's some pretty simple ways to drive, to pull out your inner greatness, to pull out that inner badass. Like I said, I had performance crushing anxiety when I was younger, and I struggled a lot with stress. And I think that's part of the reason why I had some of the health diagnoses that I did early on. So through these struggles, finding the most simple ways to really just believe in ourselves, the fact that we are strong, our body is capable, and we know how.
Yeah. I mean, whether it's a half marathon or marathon or 100-miler, you can get through most of it. But what happens in those last few miles? You might want to give up, but you still have to pull through those last few miles. I mean, you're at mile, 22 of a marathon. That's the hardest part. You still have 4 miles to go. You got to pull it through to get you through the rest of the race. And that may be the toughest thing to do not only your body is killing you, but your mind wants you to stop, but you can't.
Absolutely. And, it's those hard moments that are the game changers. So that is where I actually work with individuals to optimize mind-body performance. We talk about what we do and what we say to ourselves when it gets hard matters, but we're going to be prepared for it. So before you go into your marathon, you're going to know what you're going to do if you hit the wall, both physically and mentally, right?
Yeah.
You want to have that game plan ready to go. That is a huge, that was one piece of advice I could give to any runners is have your mindset strategies ready to go. Have your, I'm breaking down both physically and mentally game plan ready to go.
That is really good. You have to have that. I mean, it's good in a longer race like marathons or ultras. You have to have like game B, game C, game D.
Yep.
You have all this stuff ready because
improvise on the fly.
Because exactly. Because things are going to go wrong. They just are.
Yep. My husband and I did this challenge. It's called the 4-State Challenge, and it's like 43 miles of the Appalachian Trail. And I thought I was so prepared to do this, fastest time ever, one of those crazy things where you're just out there. And it was mile 12. And I turned to my husband and I said, my return to the trails is going so well. I'm really killing it. And before I could even finish killing it, I went leaping into the air and crashed my knee into a rock.
Ouch.
So I was like, what are you going to do in the middle of the Appalachian Trail?
Yeah.
Sometimes all the plans go out the window.
They do. Were you okay or not?
No, I'd had months off of training after that. It was quite the little, I guess because I have compromised bone health, I was extra safe. I enrolled in physical therapy, got extra checked out, and hobbled my way, to mile, I think 22, where we could actually get an Uber kind of thing.
Oh,
we all have those stories, I guess.
We do. Oh gosh. Yes. I remember. Yes. I crashed once in training, and I had to walk, and I crashed and I hit my head. Thank gosh I didn't get concussed, but I hit my head on the ground, and I had to walk another 6 miles to the bus stop.
Oh goodness.
I don't own a car, so it's like I had to. So I took the bus up, but then it took another 6 miles to walk, and I must have looked awful getting on the bus.
Yeah, fun. No one will ever understand unless they're a runner.
No, they won't. But these are the stories that we tell afterwards.
Exactly. Yeah. Battle stories.
So now with your coach training, what is the typical client who contacts you? What do they want the most work on?
So honestly, it's those who are serious about health and performance goals. And we're looking at optimizing. Most of them are really interested in the strategies. So there is an entire library of strategies, and we have a very specific framework that we use. We're going to shift the physiology of the mind and body and superpower it at a very strategic time, which is when it gets hard. So it's learning how to respond, flex, and adapt to red flag symptoms. Or what do we do, when we have a rough workout? What do we do when life stress is just high at work and we're tired? How can we continue to optimize performance very consistently? So it's an upstream approach, not waiting until we already have the injury, the repetitive injury, and we have to search for solutions. We're going to nip it in the butt before it happens. And so they're very interested in the strategies, which are science-based and very straightforward. So we look at everything. We look at, like you discussed, like the high performance mindset. We look at sleep strategies. We look at flexing and adapting your training plan. So most have specific goals that they're working towards. Like most recently, some of my athletes ran Chicago Marathon. I have one athlete who's a female ultra runner, and she is quite talented. So she is taking on marathons and trying to balance both, some health challenges in addition to her 100-mile races. So those athletes and runners who have their next level defined. So both recreational as well as those who are pushing the limits of their performance to place in the top.
Mm-hmm.
So it's exciting.
That is very cool. What's the first question you ask them?
What is your number one health or performance goal?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what are you doing to work towards it right now?
Mm-hmm. That's important.
And then I want to know the bottlenecks. Where's the struggle? Because that's where I can really aim to support and to strategize.
That's really good. That is very, very good, because then you can just hone into exactly what the problem is and fix it right away.
Yeah. And we want to look at, again, that strategic hustle. So what are we doing now? How do we define that next level? Mm-hmm. Once we achieve that goal, what does it mean to us? Why are we doing it? But all of the things that you're doing to get you there. And where can we trim the fat? Are there things that maybe no longer serve us? Like, we've been eating the same race day breakfast for the past 7 years. It might be time to switch it up. We might be a little nutriently depleted if we're eating the same foods all the time. What are we dependent on that maybe isn't serving us anymore? There's some things to explore.
Yes, definitely. Definitely. Yeah, that sounds really terrific. I mean, just that you don't waste the time dealing with stuff that doesn't matter. You go right into the problem and deal with it straight on. That's the important part.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's honestly all week one.
Mm-hmm.
I'm super straightforward. I have it all pretty streamlined, and we're going to review your game plan right away, because it's those high performance efficiencies and strategies that we want to learn and insert into your game plan. So let's ensure the game plan you're using first and foremost is good to go.
Yeah, exactly. That is very terrific. Well, I want to thank you. Oh, I have one other question. Last question I always ask my runners. If you could do any race anywhere in the world, regardless of qualification, money, travel, wherever, what race would you like to do?
Oh, my husband and I were stationed in Monterey, California, the Big Sur Marathon, and I've run it twice. But my heart is so very much on that coastline, having run multiple miles with my kiddo in the stroller and another one in my belly. I love that coastline. So the more I can get back to it, the better. And so I just running the Monterey Big Sur marathon again.
Oh, that's nice.
Some point in life.
Yeah, that's a tough one though. It's not an easy one.
Oh, it's not. It's a fun one with wind and hills and
lots of hills, lots and lots of hills.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a good one. Definitely. Well, terrific. And you've already done it 3 times. Wow.
Twice.
Yeah. We'll do it the 3rd time. Woo-hoo. Yeah. Very cool. Well, thank you so much for joining me. I really, really appreciate it. And like I said, we'll have all your links on the website. That's MarthaRunsTheWorld.com, and we'll have everything there so you can get in contact with Louise. And she sounds like an amazing coach. And we'll have a link to her book and everything. So we'll have everything there for you. And thank you very, very much for joining us. And don't hang up. I'll talk to you after we stop recording. Okay.
Sounds great.
Okay.
Thank you.
Take care. Okay. Bye.
Thank you so very much, Louise. It was a great time talking with you. And I wish you the best luck in your marathon and everything else that you do. And now, just a short Tales of the Trail. I just have one thing, and it's a race, not really a race report, but a run report, an adventure report by a past guest. So here is Tales of the Trail. Welcome to this week's Tales of the Trail, and we have a run report by a past guest, Pete Peterson. He went back and did the rim to rim to rim in the Grand Canyon, and he wanted to try it again in the fall. So here he wrote this to me. I had previously run the Grand Canyon R3 several months ago. It It was such an incredible experience that I thought I would return in the fall to run it again. My run started just before 2 a.m. from the South Rim. Now, the last time he did it, it was from the North Rim. Temps were in the 30s, but warmed up as I descended into the canyon. Running with a headlamp in the pitch black of night for 4+ hours was quote-unquote fun. This run was nearly 48 miles with about 24,000 of total vertical gain loss. Several water refills were shut off for the season, so it meant carrying extra water for me. I carried a max of 110 ounces of fluids. Woo, that's a lot of weight. I welcomed the sun as the canyon came alive, and the colors were so amazing to witness as I made my way up to the North Rim. I stopped and ate a peanut butter and jelly sandwich before the last 5 miles up to the top. After 24 miles and reaching the North Rim, it was time to run back to the South Rim. It felt good for the first 24 and enjoyed my run back down into the canyon. Temps were now into the upper 80s and was slowing me down. I stopped at Phantom Ranch for a couple glasses of lemonade and potato chips and then off for the last 10 miles for a very difficult climb. I slowed way down but never stopped due to fatigue. I met a lot of others out on the trail and had some great conversations. I stayed positive and just kept grinding the miles out. I was happy on the outside when talking to people, but felt dead on the inside. LOL. I was so happy to see the trailhead and to call it a day after nearly 13 and a half hours of running the Grand Canyon. That is fast. That is super fast. 13 and a half hours. Well done, Pete. And he also adds this. My solo, unsupported Grand Canyon R3 supplies I carried were Tailwind, Honey Stinger gels, 2 peanut butter jelly sandwiches, light jacket, Ultimate Direction mountain vest, Jelly Belly sports beans, headlamp, Garmin InReach mini GPS, Ultra Temp 2 shoes. And the Garmin InReach is really important to carry, I think, when you do those really long, desolate runs where no one's around. I really need to get one of those when I start doing the real long runs again. But that is an excellent report. I'm going to have the link to his video because, of course, he did a video. He's really good at that. And I'll have that link in the website this week. Okay, and thanks, Pete. I really appreciate your report. And that is Tales of the Trail. All right, that is this week's episode, and thank you everyone for making it a great, great episode. All the information will be on the website at martharunstheworld.com. If you want to give and become a Patreon patron, I would truly appreciate it. You can do that at the website, martharunstheworld.com. If you want to give your race report and have it featured in Tales of the Trail, that would be awesome. You can email me at martharunstheworld@gmail.com. And until next week, let's tie up our shoelaces and go for a run.